It was one of the most exciting moments in my career, actually, because we'd started with a bundle of really interesting textiles and we had revealed that it was an entire object that had been wrapped around a mummified body.
Just to see that figure being revealed, it's really striking, and it's a really unique sort of representation of the deceased as Osiris. And then reading the names on it, to see, wait a second, this is the son of Montsuef and Tanuat, who we weren't even sure existed. To have that whole other member of the family added in, and to connect it to the story of the tomb was just really exciting.
We started by doing a condition report and actually looking at all the fibres and the pigments on it, and we've taken very small samples so that we can do dye analysis and pigment analysis, because that sort of thing tells us more about the shroud and materials and methods that were being used at the time it was made. Then we had to think about turning the shroud over so we could look at the back to see what else was there. And when we did that, we discovered that quite a lot of it had old brown paper stuck all over the back. So we used moisture again, just really gently, very slightly moistened the paper, and that meant we could peel it off the back. And what we found under the head were layers of the original mummy wrapping that had obviously come away when the shroud was taken off the body.
The shroud is made of linen, which was then dyed red. Red was a colour that was protective. It had sort of solar associations, with the hopes of people being reborn with the sun. Earlier on, Egyptian art is very sort of traditional and focused on depicting people in a very sort of standardized way, but you can see the classical influence sort of creeping in here, where the deceased has the sort of features of his face. They're attempting to sort of show some shading, some modeling on it, and trying to do that in a full frontal depiction, which is kind of unusual for Egyptian art. So they're trying to experiment a little bit in achieving a portrait of the deceased, but also showing him in this sort of form of divine transformation.
It's amazing to have something that's so old and really quite fragile, but actually in quite good condition as well. And so we can use the conservation methods and techniques to treat the object, and it means people will actually be able to see it as it would have been laid out, which is really quite unusual.